Hi, I'm Kim McLeod.
And I'm Gerald Richards, and welcome to Soul Kind Connections. We hope you enjoy our conversation today.
Here we are.
Hello.
We're back. Hello,
We're
Gerald.
back. Hello, Kim. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's Friday.
Good. It's
Fridays are fun days. Fridays are fun days.
I love Friday. I love Friday, and they're really good when you work for yourself, because Friday you can then decide after this podcast I'm done for the day.
Yep. Well, I don't usually work a Friday at all now. This is
See,
this is Fridays are my fun days.
It's a slow day. It's a slow day. So
but this is
today
fun.
we are talking about. Well, this is the fun part. This is the fun part of Friday. So I'm good. This is good. So today we're talking about friendship.
We are.
And I wore representing my university that I went to college back in the States, primarily because so many of my dear, wonderful friends who I love and have been friends with for like more than 30 years, almost 40 years, I met at university. And so I thought it's appropriate, if we're talking about friendship, that I should wear this sweatshirt. Go West!
So big shout out to them.
Big shout out to them and all my friends. But I know on another podcast I made this bold statement about people who take friendship for granted. It's a crime to take friendship for granted. How dare people take friendship for granted? We start talking about, because I think, right, you as you think about, well, I always thought it would be very easy to make friends when you get older, but it's actually harder to make friends when you get older, right? I think. Mm-hmm. And so that you and I have become friends. I mean, we're young, so of course
Of course we are.
But I guess the question is around, what does friendship mean to you? What's it mean to you?
Friend, I suppose I've got a little one of those magnet things that's on the fridge that says, "Friends are the family we choose for ourselves."
Yeah, totally agree.
And
totally agree.
And I suppose that's the thing, is that I've got people always think I've got lots and lots and lots of friends. I know a lot of people. I do, right? Because I'm chatty and and I do have lots of friends, but there's like an inner circle of really close friends, and then you've got a kind of another layer of friends that you perhaps talk to now and again and you see sometimes, and then there's friends that I maybe like have known from some various times over my life, that where our paths have crossed, and you might not see them very often, but you might bump into them and suddenly it's like you've just met them again, you've seen them last week. So yeah, but it is something I think that it's really important to me, just having people in my life and being able to share your life with someone like that, and that sort of I think it's so important. And I agree that I think it can be more challenging for people as they're older to find friends, and that's also what they were saying. That was one of the kind of the big causes of sort of poor mental health, particularly in people that are older, is loneliness.
Yeah. Because if you've gone sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that just makes me really sad. that just I think that somebody doesn't that because you're lonely you don't have friends. So what were you going to say?
Well, no, I was going to say the loneliness, the piece of it, right, as you get older, and depending on where you are in your life, right, when you're older, like either your friends have passed away or trying to make friends or trying to go, right, because this piece of friendship of putting yourself out there and being open and being vulnerable, that I think as you get older is harder to do because you're set in your ways. And the people have their friendship groups and they have the people who they are. And so you have to be willing to be open to make friends and sort of talk to people and be like, okay, I might make a friend today, or I might not. But I think it's sad, right, for older people that the loneliness piece of it is the main cause of mental health for older people, is because they're lonely. And they don't have friends, and the family might live far away, and you're doing, and you don't have people in your circle.
And I don't even know if it is just older people, because you also see, I think, a lot of younger folk who have grown up with this sort of interaction,
Yeah.
some sort of online connection, and
Yeah.
you text somebody, you don't necessarily speak to them first. It's like
Yeah.
you would do that rather than have a phone call. And so that's also the kind of, I think, the challenges of really then spending time and hanging out with people when you're there in person. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's funny. I remember working with young people, and I would tell people, one of my dear dear best friends I've known since we were about 12, right?
hmm
And we had 11, 12, and we've been friends ever since, right? She lives in New York City, and I'm here, and we don't talk all the time, which is fine, right? Because like you said, right, you have friends. The level of your friendship, I don't need to talk to you all the time, but when I do talk to you, it's a deep connection. Or when I
hmm
see you, it's the thing, and you're with friends. And I was telling them, yeah, I've got a friend. My friend Avery and I have been friends for like 40, almost 50 years, which is crazy. And they looked at me like, well, what are you talking about? Like it was unfathomable to them that they would have a
hmm
friend for that long. And I was like, well, and they were like, how'd you meet? And I said, we met at school and we became friends. And, I was always at her house and our family became my second family and I love them to death and her sisters. I love to death and everything, right? All those things. But I think it was a thing of like, because of the world we live in now and everyone lives their lives online or so much of their lives online, that they don't
hmm
spend that time face to face and one on one. You're doing texting and you're
hmm
doing right interactions on Instagram and you're doing all these things that aren't bringing you with somebody to spend time with them, right? Friendship, how you build friendship is by spending time with people, and that's like face to face,
yeah, yeah,
right? Or you had like reacting to situations, going to movies, going to the park, having a picnic, or just sitting together at a coffee shop and just shooting the shit, right?
yeah,
That was
yeah,
all that stuff, right?
yeah.
And I'm like you. I'm going to say something, and my friends are going to be like, because if I had said I don't have a lot of friends, my friends would be like, shut your freaking face. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. I'm
Yeah.
lucky. I'm lucky in that respect. I think primarily because I've lived so many lives and moved so many places and had so many jobs that I have a lot of friends, right? And like I said, I have the friends from college, and I have the friends from grad school, and I have friends from high school, and friends from jobs and things, and I living places and things. So I would say I have a lot of friends. But I agree with you, there's levels of friendship, right? There are people who I'm uber close to, right? And
Yeah.
I cannot imagine my life without them in my life.
hmm
Friends who people would say like the kids were like I said, people I would take a bullet for, right? Friends of mine who I
Yeah.
love them,
Yeah.
right? They are
Yeah.
ride or die. They're with me forever. And then there are others who are right, they're friends and I see them and I love seeing them and I love hanging out with them, but they're like right, it doesn't diminish the friendship part. It's just not as a deep friendship, right? And then there are people who are we talked about this before, right? The levels of friendship. And there are people who are friends, but they're like more like acquaintances
hmm
and people
Yeah.
who you see, but you're not sharing very much with them. Right. I hang out with you, you know me, I know you, but I don't really know you. There's not a deep connection there, right? Of someone you'd call up and be like, hey, I need to really talk to you about something, right? There's not. And there's
hmm
in a circle of people who will always be those people like, yeah, I need to talk to you about something.
Yeah. And they'll be there for you.
And they'll be
They
there
would
for you.
drop everything for you as well. That's the thing.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and that's the same. So I've got my friend Anne, and same thing that we met first day of high school. We happened. It's that kind of you think as well around the synchronicities of
yeah.
how you meet somebody. And
Yeah.
we happened to be in the same. We were in the same registration class at high school, and we sat beside each other, and that was it. So and I can't imagine not having Anne in my life. Same thing, grew up and we were constantly in each other's houses and we would stay, I would go and stay with her for the weekend, she would come and stay with me for the weekend. So the same thing, her family were my family,
Yeah.
and all the major events, and then, you know, I then, met my husband and we got married, she met her husband, they got married, then we had children to get, and then there. So, I mean, as far as, her son and daughter, I'm their auntie, and
Yeah.
that's it. It's just, that's the relationship. And then when somebody says, so well, then she's not really my auntie, but she is my auntie, that kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, not through
Yeah.
blood, but yeah.
But the connection. Yeah. I'm Uncle
Yeah,
Gerald
yeah.
to I've got
Yeah.
like, well, quite a few children. My best friends, their kids, Uncle Gerald.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is like you're like, oh, that's my Uncle Gerald. And you see, right. And so it's funny because I like one of my best friends, they're white and their daughters are, of course, they're white. And people see us and I'm like, oh, that's my Uncle Gerald. And the people go, what? Not that that's a weird thing, right? Because where blended families work, it's fine. But it definitely is. People will go like,
but it does that kind of
like,
double take of
oh, or I'll say, oh, that's my niece over there. Or I remember I had a
uh-huh.
picture on my refrigerator at one point, and someone came over to my house. They said, who are those cute girls? And I said, oh, those are my nieces.
Yeah.
Who?
What?
But your sister doesn't have, like you said, they're not blood, right? They're not blood, but
Yeah.
they are closer to me than, right? Because they're your family, your friends, so they're my family. So those are my nieces.
Yeah.
And that's just it, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then I think about the people that I've met, again, a lot of it through, like I said, through work.
Mm-hmm.
When you were, because that was where you went. But then as an adult, I suppose that's the thing. When you were at school, you were thrown together with other people at the same stuff. So that was it. And then when, after that, I went to work and I was lucky, I suppose, because I was working in the space. I worked for the railway, for British Rail as it was at that time. That was my first job. In the mail room, so we were stuffing envelopes and shuttling stuff to all the different floors on the building. But it was all young people, because that was the thing. That's where you started. So everybody kind of started. So I had this group of people, and that's where I met. That's where I met Sinclair. So we met there together. But that was where you met friends, and we had such a social space.
Yeah.
So, you went out and that was things. So you met friends at work, and then you would maybe move to a different department, and then you got to know other people. And that's probably at the point when I would say then you've got friendships with people who are different ages and different backgrounds and different experiences, because probably up until that point you're probably kinda in a similar kind of
the same
cultural
age, same
groups, but
that's right.
and then that's the thing that I find interesting, because I have got friends that are like different. I've got friends that are younger than me, I've got friends that are older than me, I've got people that just all different experiences, and you kind of meet them along that path of life.
Yes.
That's the interesting bit, just
yeah. It's fun, yeah, because right. I talk about Wesleyan because of course, American University is very different from university here, and we're on campus. You're on campus for 4 years with these people, right? So you form these bonds with people. You live with them. You're friends with them. You see them every day. You're in classes together, or you're not in classes together, but you have lunch together. You have coffee. You spend weekends together. Almost at that point of like, you're like, these people are like, they become your family, because you see them all the time, right? And I agree with you. Once I went to a job, and suddenly you're like friends, you're meeting other people and you're working, but then you start working with older people, and they become your friends. And I remember at one point, I remember because I worked in one department, and everybody I knew in the department was older than me. So all of my friends were older than me, and I was like, wow, this is weird. All these people are older than me, and they were great to be around because they knew much more than me. They were much more, right? I could ask them questions, and life questions, especially as you're navigating life in your 20s, and you're friends with older people, and you can be like, "Oh, this happened. Is that supposed to happen? Is that how life is supposed to go? I don't know." And they're like, "Yes, Gerald, that is exactly how life is supposed to happen. What just happened to you is exactly what happened to you, right?" And like I said, now it's like friends of all ages. And people, and I love having friends who are younger than me. Not as a mentor thing, but it's just lively. It's just great to have people who are younger than you, and they're hilarious. I'm the
same. I like that. It's like people laugh when I say I actually quite like teenagers. And people go, "What?" I said, "No, because they're it's the energy." I think that's the thing. If you do hang out with people that are younger than you, they've got a different energy. They're at a different stage in their life.
That's right.
And that thing of the they're not then jaded and oh life's terrible and because they've
Yeah.
not hit all those things yet, most of them,
Yeah.
to experience that. So yeah, so it's like they used to laugh at me kind of being a bit of a, it's like almost, there you are, you're out there being an energy vampire, just kind of like we're just harvesting all this youthful energy to kind of like
Why not? I mean, it's great. I loved it. Like when I worked with teenagers, I just love it. Young people, right? I think people, it's interesting. I was just in something, I was doing a job, and people were like, so, well, young people are always on their phones and all this. And I'm like, yeah, they're on their phones, but they're actually paying much more attention, and they're actually much cooler than you would think they are, right? And I loved it. I loved hanging out with them, right? And you'd have conversations, and I remember I think I was in my 40s or so, and I went out to one of my friends. He was 21. He just turned 22 or 23. He was turning, like, having 23rd birthday or something, and he invited me. And I was like, is it a bar? And I'm like, okay, you really, I could go. That's fine. And I went. At first I was like, okay. And I was the oldest person there. And at one point it was hilarious because I was almost like holding court because they were like asking me questions and I was asking them questions because there were things like one of them at one point, someone was having my phone and I was like, my phone is doing this. And he was like, give it to me. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like fixing it and talking to me and asking me questions and he fixed it. And then I'm like, how'd you do that? He's like, this is why we're friends. It's a give and take. And I was like, oh, okay. Because he was asking me about jobs and work. And like, he was having a difficulty at work with someone. And what should he do? And right? Because the things you don't learn in school, you learn from your friends. Right? And you learn from life and you learn from your experiences. And it's great if you can impart some of your experiences on to other people. Yeah, I've been accused of being an energy vampire myself. I will admit to that.
But we're not, because we actually give out good energy ourselves.
You give out
too,
good
so
energy.
it's not,
You give out the energy. It's not just taking. It's hanging out.
No. But it's just
Yeah. It's funny. As you know, I like to travel a lot. I love to travel.
Mm-hmm.
And years ago, you learn, and this is sort of the thing with friendship, right? You learn who you can, because you can't travel with all your friends. You learn who you can and can't travel with, right? You learn your friends, who can I travel with, who can I not, right? Because there's some friends you travel with and you're like, oh my God, you're annoying. Right? When we're hanging out and we're having dinner and I see you, it's great. But when we're all together, if you're like, you realize, because, right, people are very different when they travel and people are very different, right, when you see them all the time. And it was funny because there are very few people that I find that I can, as for the really good friends of mine that I can travel with. I could count them on like one hand, maybe two hands, people who I love traveling with. And it was one point where I had people would be like, oh, Gerald, I'd love to go on a trip with you. I'm like, okay, I have 3 questions. If you can answer these questions to my satisfaction, then yeah, we can go on the trip. It's great. You can see people go, you questions? I'm like, yeah, questions. Because
fill out this application.
Fill out the application. Because, right, the last thing you want to do is, like, you think oh, we're friends and we hang out and we have a good time. And you go on a trip with someone and you realize, like, how people are very different when they travel. Right? People become very, right? Because especially depending on where you go. Like, if you go someplace and you've both never been and it's a new place, people deal with new situations and places differently than others, right? I go to new places and what did someone say? I'm the most laid back person they know. Because I go someplace and I'm like, all right. They're like, do you have an agenda? No. Do you have an itinerary? No. Well, what are we going to do? Just start walking and we'll see what happens. Like there are places I know we could go see. Let's go see where it is. And people are like, well, we have to have an agenda, Gerald. I'm like, do we have to have an agenda? I didn't know you were like
That's
this.
Me.
I thought, right, that's you. See, we could never travel together. Right? You and I can never travel together.
We're supposed to be here now.
Right? This time and this place. And see, now we know this about each other, right? We probably could never travel together because it'd be like, or I would have to be in the mindset of going, I'm going to let Kim take control. And Kim's going to do it. And I'm just going to do it. And then at their point, well, because it's the thing of it, right? You go someplace with your friends and you realize that people would go, oh, well, you'd say like, hey, I'm going to go over and see this place. Well, but that's not where we're going. We're going here. I'm like, well, you go there. Right?
Yeah.
And I will, and now, right, back in the day when you didn't have phones, you'd be like, oh, well, let's meet up at some time and we'll do it, right? And you could see the look of sheer panic on people. but we have to stay together. Do we have to stay together? I don't think so. I think you could go off and you go see your thing, right? Because I have no interest in seeing that thing. And I'm going to go here. I'm notorious for being like, oh, there's a department store over there, and I really want to walk through it for the next 3 hours to just look at stuff, right? So I'm going to go and probably eat something and do. And people are like, but we all have to. What do you mean you're just going to go? I'm like, you go. Well, what are you going to do? I'm going to go to the department store. But and so and it's friends who people will be like, okay, will you do that? We'll do that. We're on the phone. We'll get up. We'll figure out how to do what we do. And that's it. And that was always my thing of like, if you can do that, that's a good thing.
But that requires, so that's the thing around, that requires the communication beforehand as well, isn't it? That they, like you say, and sometimes you maybe are only just figuring it out when you do spend more time with them. Because I'm like that, I'm like the, okay, I've got all these lists. I mean, I love a leaflet, right? So I'm the...
I love a leaflet.
I love a leaflet, it's like, so I'm the one that's sitting there when I get into anywhere. It's like, where's all the tourist information? I'm sitting there with a pile like this, going through everything as to, right, and then I've got I've shortlisted that. Here's the ones I really want to see. Here's the ones that if we get time, so family and friends that know me well, just leave her to it, right? And then we'll go, right, okay, where are we going today then? But that way of where also then being able to go, well, it's okay. So here's the things that I want you to do. Do you want to come and do that? If you don't, that's fine. I really want to go and do this, and we can catch up later, rather than the, what do you mean you're not turning up? Or, or me just following you going, where are we going? I don't know. That's my sister. Like my sister, my sister's like you. She goes and they just go and they wander and they'll just, and I'm like, where are we going? I don't know. We're just going to wander and we might find something. I'm like, but look, all the stuff we're missing.
But all the stuff, where are these things? I'm like, because, right, the things you wind up on the thing, right? But it is, I think it's right. I think depending on how close you are with people, and how close you are with friends, the communication piece, right? That you can have open communication and not be afraid of it being like, so-and-so's going to be mad if I say this. Yeah. Or I can't say, if I make a suggestion that we don't hang out together today, they're going to have a cow.
Yeah.
That's why I came up with the questions, because I was like...
So you got to tell us what the questions are then.
So at the time I was going, so I'll tell you, because it changes for different trips, right? But the questions are pretty much the same. The same thing. So it is. I think we were going to a resort, right? We were going to a resort. It was lovely, and I said, okay, here's the thing. I said, this is where I want to go, and this is. Oh, I really want to come with you. I said, great. So here's what's going to happen. So here's my questions. The first question was, if you want to do something, if I want to sit by the pool all day and you want to go snorkel or you want to go see some ruins and things, and I say, listen, you go do you, I'm going to sit here. You're okay with that, right? Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay. Check. 2, I'm going to sit by this pool. I'm probably going to drink all day. From the moment I wake up, probably with the first mimosa, till I have the last whiskey, at like midnight before I pass out in my room, right? Because I'm on vacation and I'm just going to hang out and I'm going to do my thing. And which means I'm just going to chill, right? And I'm probably going to be drunk all day. Are you okay with that? that was a long time ago. The thought process of that now is very...
How on earth do you cope with all that?
I can't anymore, right? I can't anymore. But back then it was like, yeah, I'm going to drink all day. Are you okay with me drinking all day? Oh, yeah. 3, we're on vacation. I want to talk about work. I want to talk about what happens outside this resort. I want to talk about your work. I want to talk about this. Can you do this? Can you shut off? We're only going for a week. Can you shut off for a week? If you want to go in your room and you make phone calls and do your thing, right? Or do work stuff.
Yep.
Family, do that stuff. Don't do it around me. But if you can do you do that, are you okay with that? Yes. Okay, then we can go on a trip. The person broke the third rule very quickly. Much quicker than I thought they would. Like, they broke the third rule real fast. I was pissed. I was like, I said, you weren't supposed to do. They're like, I'm really sorry. I just really want to talk to you about work. I was like, I don't want to talk to you about work. Right? I get it. we have all the time to talk about work, but right now we're sitting at this resort that's really nice, and I just want to chill, and I just want to drink my drinks and chill out. So yeah, so and it's different questions, different things.
Here's the contract you signed when you said you were
Contract you signed that you said you were going to not do these things for me. Oh, and at a certain point now, then now you're old. I'm older, and there are just the people who I know I travel with, like, and I just travel with really well. Like I went to Portugal with my friend Margaret, who I lovingly call my wife. There's a story behind that, but she's my wife, husband and wife. She's lesbian, I'm gay, but husband and wife, we talk to each other.
Perfect.
It came up on a trip. Actually, we've been on trips a lot together, and I think we were on one trip, and some of the taxi driver was like, Margaret had gone off to get a cup of coffee, to get a coffee.
Is it your wife's?
He said, oh, your wife went to go get coffee. And weirdly, that day, we happened to dress alike by sheer coincidence. Literally sheer coincidence. There's a picture of it. Sheer coincidence, we dressed alike. And so he's like, oh, your wife went to get coffee. And at first I was like, who are you talking about? I was like, oh, Margaret. Oh, I'm like, oh, okay. So when she came back, I said, he thinks you're my wife. And she almost spit out her coffee. And she's like, okay, great. And so literally the entire trip, we started saying, all we would say to each other, she's like, husband, do you think we should do this? I don't know, wife. And also we affected hilariously bad British accents the entire trip, for the entire part of the time. We were talking in these exaggeratedly hilarious British accents. She's like, husband, wife. And we do this the whole time. And that's why I was like, I love you. This is how I know we will be friends for life. Because we kept that thing up literally almost for a week of the trip, where we would talk in these exaggerated British accents and call each other husband and wife without any hint of laughing, just like it was like a natural thing. Right. And I love it because it was, and we still do. Like we go places and we're like, husband, wife, come see this tapestry. And people will be around and people will look at us and be like, who are those people? So that, and I think that's a mark of friendship, right? It's that it's people you can be completely yourself with. Mm-hmm, right? You can be weird as you want to be. You can be crazy. And that they match your crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Because you're not having to pretend to be something. It's just that thing. It's just like, this is it. And do you know when you've got friends where, I think it's that bit when you laugh together and you laugh at what other people think is nothing, but you've just got, there's something just starts and you're off, that's the beauty of it as well, when you're so comfortable with somebody.
That's right. You laugh. You can look at something and both and just start laughing.
And because you
just know, or start laughing at something and you can't stop laughing, and the people are like, "What are you two laughing at?" And you're like, "We can't even explain to you. This is funny." I love that. That's one of the things about friendship is that thing about they're the people who just get you, right? Mm-hmm. Who match your freak. Who get you and understand you and will sit there and or that you can sit there. I had my friend Matt, and we were traveling and we were in a coffee shop. We're in a coffee shop bar. It's in Germany, same thing. Yeah. And we were sitting there reading the paper, and then we started playing cards, and we barely, we just were just hanging out together and not speaking. And I think the bartender came over and was like, oh, he started talking to us. And we were like, and I think at one point he was like, are you two traveling together or something? How long I think he was like, oh, you two seem very comfortable with each other. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we just are. I said, we could sit here in silence and it's not a thing. Right? He's one of my old friends. That is, or play cards, or we were both reading the paper, and it's not like we have to talk, or we tend talk and talk about stuff, and that's that sort of thing. You can talk, and then you could, what is that? It's from, we come some talk and not talk, and all things, right? And do those things. So I appreciate that about friendship. And that's why I get mad when people, you see people take it for granted, or people take advantage of friendship, is that I'm always mad. I'm like, this is a precious thing to be friends with somebody. It's a jewel to be friends with somebody. And if you take that for granted, I just find that it always upsets me when people do things like that. And when people do it, right? Because we know people who've done it to us, to each other, right? We do people who do it, and you always tell, and it always pisses me off. And I'm always like, just don't take advantage of this friendship. Come on. Just you know what? And if you want to take advantage of it, that's cool. We don't really need to be friends anymore. Or what is it? You've now got. We were joking before about the levels of friendship, and we're like, they're the people who are at level, who are deep, deep, deep. They're level 5. They're level 5 friends, right? They're level 5 friends. They're the people who ride or die. They do it, and then there are people who level 1 who are like, oh, okay, we hang out. It's good. I like you. We do stuff together, and we were talking before, like, you take advantage of friendship. I'm gonna move you. You can travel back up a level or two to get back to level 2 and try to work your way back. Sometimes you can't work your way back. Once you work, right, you can work your way down to level 5. You can't once you work, if you get up to level 2, it's hard to work back down to level 5. It's hard to work back down to level 5. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's hard, right? When someone does something to you, someone you think's a friend does something to you, you remember that this thing is etched into your soul.
You can tell everybody, if you're listening to this, that Gerald's got some stories here.
Right.
Yep. It's
friendship stories. Oh my god.
But do we want to go there? Because
no. Because there are people who are like thinking, I thought I was level 5. You're not level 5. You're level 2. And there are people who are level 2 who are like, oh, I'm level 5. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you what's in level 5. But yeah, I think it's the beauty of friendship is, right, because I think I told you the story about when my parents passed away, and I had my 2 friends. So my grandmother and my mother passed away within 6 months of each other, and my grandmother was unexpected, and my mother was expected. And that was my rock, right? And I live in California, and they were my rock, and they passed away. And so suddenly I was, at age 24, I was an orphan, right? My parents passed away. And I remember coming back to California after my mom had passed away and had to deal with all of that. And my friends were like, they called me up and like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm home. I got home. I'm chilling. I'm going to do my thing and hang out. And they were like, okay, well, why don't you meet us out? We need to go out. And I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm fine. And they were both, and they were wanting to be together. I didn't know they were together. And I hear them both on the phone. Or we were having a group call, the thing you could do back then when you could do like a group call. And they were like, listen, you meet us out or we're going to come and get you. But we're going out. You need to go out. And I was like, fine. And we did. That was a 3-day bender. That was a fantastic. That was. Things were done that I will never talk about. Only those 2 people know. Well, we partied our ass off for 3 days. And it was so necessary, right? The thing you can only do with people who know you, right? And who you friend. And to this day, why we're, I think, the closest of friends and why I love them both so much is because that thing really was necessary I needed that for me, was to like have that. Yeah. And they knew it, and only your friends who know you really well know what you need when you need it. No questions asked. And they don't take no for an answer, right? Like that was the thing. They're like, we're not taking no for an answer at this point. We're coming to get you. Yeah. I'm like, oh my.
And I think that is something, when you've got something hard going, so for us, when Callum died, who's our son, if you haven't heard any of the stories, any of the episodes before. So when Callum died, we were in hospital, he was battling meningitis, and we'd let people know. And we had friends who lived in Fife. So we were in Glasgow, they were in Fife. So they were an hour and a half away. And they just dropped everything. I mean, they had 3 kids and they just dropped everything and turned up at the hospital. And I mean, we had family who were there, but it was like they just stayed. It was like, And I'm going, but your life's and work, and it was like, no, we're just here for you. We're just here for you. And it was so, because people did come and go, and we had lots of people who looked after us, but it was one of those things where you go, they didn't stop for a minute to think, oh, I can't, oh, I'll go and see them for an hour. It was like, no, we just want to be there and do whatever it is that we can do to help hold you up.
Yeah.
And they were also then, so Alan and Lorna. Lorna was also the one that would call me afterwards and be able to hold the grief with me.
Yeah.
So I have lots of friends who were, wanted to. Some people do practical things. Some people do, just like, I'm just checking in on you. So they're there, they're constantly there. But Lorna was probably one of the few who could actually hold the grief. So if she asked, "How are you?" she really wanted you to tell her and not do the, like you said,
Yeah,
oh, I'm okay. Yep. And me be able to tell her and be able to cry and her just be there on the phone with you, not saying, oh, you have to, or saying anything, just being in your energy, being in your space. And that's the thing when you really like appreciate that there are some, like, and that there are some people who can just show up, and not everybody can, because I appreciate that not everybody could hold that themselves. That was So, but you did see, I think that because that obviously was the worst time in our lives. You saw how people came to support you.
That's right. Yeah.
And and that's the thing. So that's when you really go, when you've got good friends. And we had another friend, a chap that Sinclair worked with, Steve, who would literally drive from work every night and come into the house and just go to the kitchen and start peeling potatoes, or he literally just came in. I mean, he did it for weeks and weeks and weeks. Would come in every night on his way home and come in and just make us some dinner or just sit with us and just, how are you? And he, again, for Sinclair, because I think a lot of men struggle with showing the emotion, right? And he was great because he would just sit and he would just go, you look as if you need a cuddle. And he would just hug him, and he just did this. And he had lots of stuff going on in his own life as well, at that time. But he just came in and did it for ages, just doing those things, showing up for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are the times when you go, right, you had then built friendship with people who were good people.
Good people. Yes. That's it. Right.
Who weren't doing it to showcase to the world, oh, look how caring I am, and I'm, telling everybody about what I'm doing to look after this person, but just showed up and did it. And we had lots of wonderful instances like that. And I said that was the whole thing around kindness and how people really, showed their kindness. But then you've also got, you think about the friends. So it's interesting. So there's people that will show up, I think, when you've got challenges going on in your life. Mm-hmm. And then when there's really good stuff going on, sometimes they're not the ones who are there for that.
Yeah.
And you've got other people who are there, who are there for the good stuff, because it's just like, and it's the, it's not necessarily maybe a level of how deep your friendship is, but it's about their capacity to hold stuff and also maybe just how they know you. And some folk think, oh, I'd be stepping the boundary if I go there, but yes, I'm here for you for this.
I'm here for you for this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But thank goodness we've got people, like you and I have both. We've got people in our lives who have been there for us when this, when times are tough, and have, party with us too,
and party with us too when you need to, right? And they need to, and you have people who I think it's sort of like finding the friends that can hold you, and you can hold them no matter what, depending on what it is, right, and where it is, and what you need at the time. And I think that's why it's to me, like I said, right, you've got different types of, it's almost like you've got different. And I think I joke about the levels of friendship, but it's just different types of friendship, right? Of how you have with people, and depending on what it is, right? There are people who like you said, people who I don't see for years at a time, and then we'll be in the same place, and it's like no time has passed, and we will hang out all day, and we'll talk about everything, and you cram like all that life into that time that you're together. And then you'll see
Yeah.
them again for like a couple, and you can contact and everything, but it's not. It's right. There's just that, and it does. It's. I think I remember having a friend, my friend Kathy, once say to me about, we've been friends for ages, and we met through another friend, and we've become really good friends, and we see each other, and we live near each other, but we see each other not that close. But she said one day, she's like, I love being with you and being friends with you because it's always like no time has passed when I see you. Right? It's not like I don't need to talk to you all the time. I don't need to see you all the time to know that we're friends or to feel that we're friends. I know that we're friends because when I see you, it's like, okay, we're together.
Yeah.
You're there. This
Yeah.
is it. Da da da. And it's always like that. It's never like, oh, I feel like I don't feel like I need to catch up. I feel like I'm always caught up with you. I always know what's going on with you. I always know, or I don't need to know what's happened before because right when I'm with you, and then I'll learn all these things, and we'll talk and we'll share, and
Yeah.
it'll be good.
Yeah. But there's also times when friendships are that we drift or we shift out of
Yeah.
that connection with someone as well, and that's
Yeah.
the thing is that if because people change, that's the thing, we change, our interests change, our family circumstances change, or your work changes, and you might realise, I think, over time that the thing that bound you together as friends was actually a situation or a circumstance or another group, rather than necessarily you might have got along with them, but when that thing in common isn't there anymore, so if you don't work together anymore,
That's right.
it's
Yes.
like, oh yeah, well, we're really good friends when we were at work, but actually we don't work and we don't see each other.
That's right. That's right. Or you move away, and right, you move, and the people who you move, like, right, because I've moved a lot, and there are people who I'm friends with then who I would still say I'm friends with. I see them, but they're not. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not the same thing. What is it? It's your people friends with you for life, for reason, or a
Reasons
season
and seasons.
and
Yeah.
seasons,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have that, and it's true, right? And it's like the people who, like, I moved away, and the people who I still talk to, and there's some people who I moved
Yeah.
away and I don't talk to them anymore, right? Because we were friends for that place at that time. It was either job or where I was, and it just is where it is, and we've all gone on with life. Now, I would say if we see each other again, we'd hang out, we'd have dinner, and it would be great, and we'd love each other, seeing each other, and then you go back to being right, the season, right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
of things.
Yeah. I suppose where it's difficult is if, and again, it's back to communication. It's that thing. If somebody thinks they're a really good friend of yours,
Hmm.
and you don't feel exactly the same now, that because you think they're, yeah, there's some you hang out with every now and again, and they're looking for, level 5, and you think they're level 2 or whatever. It's like, um, and they think that that's where you are, and
Yeah.
that can be a challenge then, because you just, how do you handle that sort of situation? Because nobody, I suppose the thing for me, I never want to hurt somebody,
No, no,
you
no.
know.
And it's interesting because I think you this sort of is making me think as we're talking, like, right, that sometimes friendships end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just is. And it took me a long time to. It taught me a long time to realize that. I think that sometimes back to the reason or the season or whatever, right? We're friends and we're not friends anymore because something happened, or we're not close, or the thing that brought us together, it's not. And I think, to your point of, right, it's not like going out of your way to be like, I can't, right? Like when you were kids and you'd go up to someone and go, we're not friends anymore.
Friend.
I'm not
Yeah.
talking to you
Yeah.
anymore, right? We've all
Yeah.
done that, sadly, right? Of like, I'm not talking to you anymore. You walk away.
Yeah.
And I think as you get older, it's not, I don't think it's almost unspoken, right?
Yeah.
And it is hard, right? If someone who's like you, if we use my levels, we use on the levels, level 5, they think they're level 5 and they're level 2. And, and you're like, and I'm always like, you have to sort of adjust yourself to be like, I'm not sharing all of this with you, right? I'm not. And so
Yeah.
it always stays sort of surfacey of it like that, right? And it's hard, right? 'Cause you don't want to come out and say, yeah, I'm not gonna share that with you. I don't want to.
Yeah.
You're right. That's not. I don't feel like our friendship is that way. and it's a hard one, right? Because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You don't want to do anything. Or someone who thinks that I think that I'm a level 5, and they're like, "Oh, Gerald, no, you're level 1, dude. You're level 1," and I'm like, "Okay, right? I get that, right? It's like, all right, and I'm not gonna force us to be a level 5. I'm like, we're level 1. That's great. It's sort of, I think, it's almost knowing yourself and knowing sort of what makes a good friend and a strong friendship. And you can move from like, right, you were level 1, you're level 5, you're blah, blah, blah. But right, but you don't want to hurt anybody, right? I don't go out of my way to be like, oh my god, I don't want to be friends with you anymore.
Yeah,
If anything,
stuff,
I will be completely honest and say that I will just not talk to people. I just will sort of like, it'll just drift away.
It'll just be
drift away.
You don't reach out and you don't connect with them, and you don't and you might go back to visit a particular town and not call in to see them, or
call, or not do anything, or someone you're seeing, and life intrudes, right? And so you don't call. And I was thinking, right, if there's a point where you're not contacting each other, or if one of you is doing a lot more of the contacting and the other one's not, it's sort of like in a relationship, right? A love relationship, right? If you try dating someone and someone is doing a lot of the texting and the other person's not, it's like, you're sending me a message then that you don't really want to have the level of friendship that I would like to have. Okay. And I'm usually right, and I've been in that situation. It's like where I'm like, oh, I'm texting, and I know I don't like to text, or someone I call and you don't hear back from them in a couple right away, or you don't hear from them in a couple days. Then I'm like, okay, this is I see. Okay, no harm, no foul. I understand where we are that way, and you can't force someone to be your friend. Right? I mean,
I got you.
I'm not saying we got each other. Maybe you can force someone to be a friend, and you wind up on a podcast together. I don't think we forced each other. I think it was the most. I remember the first time we met in person. Right, we've been talking on the phone.
Yep.
And I think you were coming into Edinburgh.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, let's. And you were like, do you want to meet? And I said, oh yeah, let's meet. Right. And it was that thing. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, well, we've been talking on the phone, and I know we're like got close to the phone, but I have no idea what it's going to be like when we're in person together.
Yeah.
And I think we both gave each other the biggest hug. Like, oh. And then wound up sitting there talking. I think we went to a dessert place and wound up talking for like 5 hours.
I know folk going, are you giving us that table back?
Are you giving us the table? How long are you going to be here? You could tell they were sort of like, you guys got to go. Right? But I just remember it was natural.
Yeah.
There was a naturalness to it of like, well, of course we're going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the bit of, as an adult, you maybe don't have the time, or people don't maybe spend the time then to get to know somebody off, that way. Because people have said to me, so how are you friends with Gerald? Because I've obviously been telling, we're doing this podcast, Gerald. Who's Gerald?
Who's Gerald, right? Who's Kim? Then people like, how do you know each other? Yeah.
Yeah. And then you say, well, the thing was, and this was the beauty, I think, of us just starting and really connecting, was that, just we had such good conversations, and those went really quite deep, and we opened up about all sorts of things, and it was like, oh, this is, I would say, Jill's a really, really good friend, a really close friend. It's like, here we are, we've just developed this friendship over time, but it's not something perhaps that a lot of people do. And the same, I've sort of built that as an adult. Like I said, you've got really close friends who you've known for years and years. I moved towns, right? So I moved to Largs, it's 5 years ago now. And I've got some really good friends here in the town that I didn't know, before I came. And my thing was, I just saw interesting people on doing stuff on Facebook, and then went, would you like to come for a coffee? Because, I just see, because what I would say, I would resonate with something that they were doing, or they were talking about, or then we were introduced via somebody else that we knew. And then you kind of, you spend time with someone, and you either go, oh, that thing about oh, we really clicked that day and we had some really good and interesting conversations and
Yeah.
sharing stuff. And those are the ones you go, oh, absolutely, I want to go and spend time with them. And other times you would meet somebody, and because it knew at the time you would meet somebody and would go, don't know, we just didn't quite hit it off. Or they were like
Yeah.
nice people, but I don't want to just talk about the weather and what's the did you watch
Did you
whatever
watch
on TV?
whatever's on TV? I'm like, this is not a conversation I want to have
Yep,
with you. Right.
Game of Thrones.
Didn't watch Game of Thrones. I'm never gonna watch that show.
We were just laughing about this before we started recording.
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones.
So yeah, so it's that kind of thing about that's okay for yeah, I'll have a coffee and have a chat with you for a bit and do, but I love to have people who have got interesting things going on in their lives and have got and it's like, this would be good to have a conversation about, and this is really interesting. They're going to,
Yeah.
so that's the stuff about, I think, choosing to spend time with people and finding friends that actually really resonate with where you are in your life, now as well. And yeah, and it's not always so easy for everybody to do it, maybe.
No, and you have to work at it. It's making me think. I moved here. I was about to turn 50 when I moved to Scotland. Anyway, I think about it. I've been there so long. I was about to turn 50, and I didn't know anybody here. I knew people on this side of the world, like my friend. I have my friend in France. I have friends in London. I know people over in England. I know anybody in Scotland. I moved to Scotland without knowing anybody, and I remember thinking to myself, it's going to be really hard. God, you're moving someplace. Like, I guess I could make friends from work, but I wound up making, I have a small team of people, so I didn't make friends with anybody. And it was my friend Helen, I think, before I moved here, I was come, and she and I wound up having this long, long talk on a stoop in Charlotte Square till like 3 o'clock in the morning. She knows what we talked about. I'm not sharing what we talked about. She knows what we talked about.
Yeah.
So we talked, but hours and hours. And then when I moved here, I remember it was right before Christmas. And I don't celebrate Christmas, but I was like, here, right? You move somewhere to the holidays, it's quiet, it's cold, it's dark. And I think I emailed her that I was coming, I was going to be in town, and when I was, and she said, well, you know what? Why don't you come to my house? I have this Christmas Eve party, and it's called an orphan's Christmas party for people, right? If you don't have family, your parents are gone, come to my house for Christmas Eve and come for dinner. And I was like, oh, okay, well, sure, right? Usually, most times, I just stay in my house and do nothing. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, should you do it? I don't know. But I was like, you know what? Go out of your comfort zone. You might meet some people. She's a really nice woman. Who knows? She's now one of my best friends. We've known each other for 8 years. But I went to that, and I met some other people as well that I was like, oh, so you never know, right? It was that thing of like putting myself out there and going out of my comfort zone and being like, oh, am I ready? I need to make friends anyway because I moved someplace, right? The thing that I think why you tend to love a place you live in is because of the friends you make and the friends you meet and the people you're with. So it was like, if you don't make friends, what are you going to do? You're going to live in this place and not know anybody and just travel every place else to go hang out with your friends. But I made friends and have since made other friends since I've been here, and people that I love and people that I love talking to. But it was that thing of like, I remember it, like I said, it's like that having to put yourself out there and communicate and become close. And it's harder when you're an older person, right? Because either you got a job, you're working, you got a life already that you have, and you're trying to be like, oh, do I do this? And I remember talking to a friend a while ago about how hard it is to make friends when you're older. Because you're set in your ways too, right? And you want to meet somebody. Sort of like when you're trying to date when you're older, right? It's like, I know what I know, and I know what pisses me off, and I know what I like about people. And when you make friends with somebody, and you're like, and you're French, and I always find my threshold and my bar for someone becoming my friend is really high. I don't know about you, the older they're like, right? Us to be friends where I want to be close with you, or I'm going to share myself with you. I'm going to share we're going to hopefully share our lives with each other and things are going on. It's just really high. Like, are you a quality person?
Yeah, because that's about time. I think maybe as you're older, you're more conscious of the time that you have is precious. So therefore, for me, I want to spend it with people that lift me up, that we feel good, we can have yeah, you can support people when they're low and they're down, of course.
Yeah.
But you want to you want to feel that you've got you've got enough common ground that it's like, yep, they're your kind of people that you know when you spend time with, that that's good. And that's and so the challenge is, like you said, a bit like dating, and we will be talking about love in a future episode.
Talking about love in a future episode. That's going to be a conversation, isn't it?
But that you've got, you've kind of got to maybe kiss a few frogs before you meet your prince. Same with friendship. You've got to sometimes kind of put yourself into situations, whether it's, I suppose often if you go to something that you're interested in, so if there's a class running or there's a group of people who meet to do a particular activity, the chances are at least you've got something in common, because, if you go to that thing, and that might be an opportunity to kind of start sort of like friendships. But again, not everybody who's going to be there will necessarily be your friend, and being willing to step out your comfort zone, put yourself in a vulnerable situation. It's about, isn't it? It's about willing to be vulnerable again. We've talked about that quite a lot through a lot of our stuff.
A lot through stuff, right? Of vulnerability and how vulnerable you're willing to be and how open you're willing to be about it. And I did, tell people, I was telling this to a younger friend of mine, like, don't be afraid. Like, sometimes, right, if that friendship is not serving you, you'll make other friends. You'll meet other people. Right? If you're a good person, you'll meet other people, right? And if that friendship's not serving you or someone's taking it for granted, don't be afraid to be like, you know what? This friend ain't it. This friend's not the person, right? This friend's not treating me well. This friend's is taking me for granted. This friend's not, right, living up, right? You tell them something and suddenly you hear from someone else, like, wait, I told that someone something in confidence and you've now shared that with everybody. Don't be afraid to not be friends with that person anymore. Because it's like, you know what? If I can't be open and honest with you and you respect me, boundaries. We were talking about boundaries before, right? And boundaries. If you can't respect my boundaries, then we can't be friends, really. And don't be afraid to be like, you know what? You don't have to be open about it and be like, we can't be friends no more. But you just be like, oh, you could if you want to, right? You're not, right? This ain't it. But also to be like, you know what? I don't need to talk to you anymore. And you can just slowly drift, like, right? It's back in The Simpsons, is where you slowly drift. Homer Simpson slowly drifts off into the bush, and the bushes come up. That means that I use that for, it is step back into the bushes and just slowly drift away. And just be like, okay.
Yeah. So knowing your boundaries is important. Knowing what, like I said, here's my friendship. I've got my friendship forum. You're going to have to fill in this questionnaire.
Fill in the questionnaire.
And I'll decide whether or not you might be shortlisted. I might call you for an interview later.
I'm wondering how many of my friends are going to call me up. Maybe none of them are going to call me up. Or they're going to be like, they're going to call me up and be like, no, where am I at?
Ghosted.
What? I'm going to be ghosted by everybody. Like, you have levels of friendship? I didn't know that. I don't want to be friends with you. You have levels of friendship? What are you talking about? That would be hilarious. Or people who like, where am I at? I'm like, oh, no, I've opened up a can of worms, haven't with this. But no, I love it, and I made some new friends recently, and I love them to death because it's like they're very open. They're very right. You're right. I've been lucky enough to make some new friends recently who I'm like thinking are just wonderful people, and I love hanging out with them, and I love being with them, and they're hilarious, and it's great to be around them, and it's a good friendship. It's a good thing.
And that's the thing around, as we were talking about, this whole soul-kind connections and connecting with different people, different backgrounds, and the more, I suppose it's that thing. If the world was a friendlier place, if we could have the conversations that we talked about way back about, giving people grace and actually exploring what's it like to be in your world, what was it like to grow up where you were, what's it like to live as you do.
That's right.
And that you actually might find that we've got a lot more in common, perhaps, with people than we think, and that it's and that's the thing is, when you can be friends and you build the trust and you can be vulnerable, then you can also ask the questions, and you can just to try and understand somebody else's point of view or somebody else's experience.
That's right.
And there's a kind of a hope for the world as well around friendship, that if we could all just get along and be friends.
Just get along and be friends, right? Just connect, right? Just talk to people. Just be friends. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
We need more of that in the world, like, right? Soul kind, right? People connecting.
Soul kind. Yes. So thank you, my lovely friend.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. We need to see each other again in person.
Absolutely, we do soon. So so we will be back again for another episode.
Yes, we will.
Talking about, I don't know, I can't remember.
I don't remember. What's
love. Is love our next one? I don't know. Maybe it's not.
It might be love.
It is.
It is.
Love was supposed to be our next one.
That's going to be.
So there we go. That's going to be good.
Friendship, love, right? They go hand in hand. It's all good. It's all good. All right.
So thanks, folks. And we'll
people.
hopefully see you next time.
Have a good day.
We hope you enjoyed our conversation. And if you did, it would be great if you could leave us a 5-star review and maybe even share this with someone else that you think might enjoy it.
Thanks for joining us. And we hope you join us next week for our next Soul Kind Connections conversation. Bye.